Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So are
Ricer
we
would be, yeah, fine. Ricer?
right? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me on the call?
Yeah. So we'll just begin within 2 minutes, okay?
All right, all right.
Yes, sir. Ricer would be giving the welcome. Then we'll welcome sir and we'll begin.
The college was re-accredited with a score of 3.53 by NAC in 2018. Following this, academic autonomy was conferred on the college from academic year 2019-20. In April 2020, as per Education World India College Ranking for 2020-21, our college was ranked 45th in all India and 10th in Maharashtra. I now request our Honorable Principal, Dr. Shrikant Sawant, to share his views. Sir, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to you on the occasion of hosting this webinar organized by Department of BAF, BBI and BMS on the subject starting your first job in post-COVID-19 world. Friends, you know that just now you know about our college. Patkar-Varde College is well known in the western suburb of Mumbai. Since the establishment of in 1964, it is constantly in work at increasing number of courses it offers students and bettering infrastructure. The college has grown steadily over the last 5 decades, and we have turned away from challenges in keeping with the spirit of learning and growing through. We have set up high standards, working continuously towards advanced goal. Today, the college has gone into large institutions, offering education from UG to research. Commitment and vision. With commitment, we are working with commitment and vision. Our college is recently NAAC accredited in its 3rd cycle and secured A+ with 3.53 score by NAAC. We are granted autonomy. Our college is, there are number of feathers in our cap. The number of awards, the college has been awarded by number of institutions, national and international institutions. We have very good repute, which has just been described. Friends, it is very important to discuss on the issue that starting your first job in the post-COVID world. COVID pandemic has challenged almost all walks of life. And securing job, getting job, or thinking this is a better opportunity in this critical juncture is very important. There needs proper guidance, right direction. And I'm quite sure that our eminent speaker, resource person, Sri Mohit Sethi, who has worked in this sector, in this field, MBA in HR with 9+ years career in varied industries, is a distinguished by commended performance proven results. He has very extensive background as a business partner and knows all the details, all the things. What right steps, what is important, what right steps are required to be taken into account, taken into consideration. There are job opportunities, there are job chances, job wide chances. But one must have ability, must have techniques, skills to grab the opportunity. And I am quite sure that today's renowned guest speaker, Mohit Sethi, will throw light on this issue. His lecture will be inspirational lecture. It will, no doubt, this will be inspiring to our students, those who are striving to secure jobs. And on this occasion, I give him a warm welcome. I also would like to welcome Kishorji Rangnekar, President of Chikitsak Samuha. I would like to give welcome to Rajesh Desai sir, who is Vice President of Chikitsak Samuha, Dr. Gurunath Pandit, Joint Secretary, and all the office bearers of Chikitsak Samuha. Dr. Mala Kharkar, CEO, coordinator for this webinar, Dr. Bhujang Rai, and his organizing team. The organizing team has taken efforts to host the webinar, and I'm quite sure that this webinar will surely give us light. His speech will enlighten our students and us also. I wish all the best to you and all. Let us take everything positively, because in negativity, it's very important to think positively. And I am quite sure that Mohit Setti's speech, his motivational lecture will make us very much positive. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to welcome you all on the occasion of hosting this webinar. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Over to
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We are very much delighted with your learned guidance, and we will definitely live up to your words. I now introduce our speaker, Mr. Mohit Shetty. Mr. Mohit Shetty, who is an HR business partner with Infoblox India, handles engagement, recruitment, and performance of the R&D Center of Excellence and Bengaluru and the global support team. Sir has over 9 years experience in human relations. He has held middle and senior positions in Deccan Charter, Metric Stream Incorporation, Picus Social Solutions, and L&T Technologies, where he earned accolades and awards for his performance. He has also initiated a social cause by the name Campus Reach Out, under which he has trained students in 2 and 3 tier towns to prepare for campus interviews. He is also a visiting faculty for management studies at Christ University, Bengaluru, and Mangalore University. I now request sir to start the session. Welcome, Mohit sir.
Thank you everyone for that warm welcome. It's very overwhelming to receive such a warm welcome, and I thank all the 40 plus participants that I see for taking the time out of this afternoon time to come and visit, be part of the session. So thank you all very much. It's a great honor, and I hope whatever little knowledge that I have that I share with you will be of some use. And especially if you are a fresh graduate who is going to get graduated in the upcoming months and years, I hope whatever my little knowledge that I share with you will help you land your first job and be successful in your role. So without further ado, I would jump into my speech. And before that, there is a small slideshow in the background. It will cover some of my points, but most of it I would be sharing from my experience. And at any point in time, if any of your participants, students have any questions, please put it in the question and answer chat box, which I hope is visible to all of you. And at regular intervals, or perhaps at the end of the speech, I'll be taking my time to address to the best of my ability. So welcome once again, and thank you. So starting your first job in a post-COVID-19 world, it's easy for me to write this nice graphic, put a bunch of photographs and say, you're all ready, and this is it. You can just join this new workforce. But having worked for all these years from the employer side of things, because as an HR, my primary responsibility is hiring talent. And I work in the city of Bengaluru, which I'm sure you're all well aware of. It is also called the Silicon Valley of India. And it attracts talent from all across the country. From every corner of the country, people come to Bangalore searching for a job opportunity. And many of people who land here are freshers. So part of this journey that I begin and I'll share with you is my own perspective. And that is where exactly I'm going to start. So what is the importance, or what is the benefit of you being a part of this lecture? One, I will give you an overview of what are the forces that are on our current job market for the class of 2020. When I say class of 2020, anyone who is going to graduate in the next few months to maybe a year. Second, I would like to throw a point of view from an employer's view, because always when you see the news, when you read articles online, offline, and when you hear things in the news, you always hear more about the employee side of you, but very rarely do you hear the employer side of you. So I would like to throw some light on that. And finally, most importantly, share some key aspects that I have seen make people successful in their jobs in such difficult conditions. And what makes me prepared for answering this kind of question is very simple. I started my career back in 2010. For those of you who are aware of the timeline of the last great recession, the world has about 14 great financial economic recessions. And in 2010, it was the end of the last great recession. And the headline that you are seeing today, this was a very recent headline that I saw in Hindustan Times. It said, freshers are staring at an uncertain future in the post-COVID job market. And it said there are over 23 million students across the country who will be graduating, who will be coming out of various streams and may find many of them without jobs. This was the exact same headline that was facing me when I graduated out of my college. I completed an MBA from a tier 2 city. What is a tier 2 city? Tier 1 cities are cities like Bombay, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Chennai. These are megapolises. These are large cities which have large employment opportunities. But within these states, for example, you are in the Maharashtra area, you are in Mumbai. Perhaps Mumbai is your biggest job market. There are other areas also. But apart from that, in your state alone, I'm sure there are so many other cities which have very good talent, but do not have the access to jobs, because all the jobs or all the high paying quality jobs are concentrated in these metropolitan areas. And that is one reason why people leave everything behind and come to these cities to be part of this job market. So in 2010, when I started my journey, this was exactly the same headline that faced me. There was uncertainty. I went to multiple interviews because there was no campus interview. I studied in a state sponsored, rather a central university. Mangalore University is a central university, and government colleges do not have good placement support like maybe your college may have. And at the end of our course, we just had a nice fancy certificate, but I did not have a job opportunity in hand. So in 2010, I made my way to Bangalore and there were no job opportunities. I went from one interview to another and met with uh, one rejection after the other. I will come back to the story at the end of the session in a more positive note. But before that, let us superimpose to what is happening today. Today, as you're all aware, the times are similar. While people are not talking much about the economic downturn, people are talking about the jobs lost definitely. This is specifically in Bangalore. These news have been very fresh in the mind of people who have been following the news. First came all the big startups, Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato. By the way, when I say Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, I'm not referring to the massive fleet of drivers and workers who are the end, workers. No, there is also a set of people, tech people, HR, finance, who are working in these companies who will not be seen. They work in corporate offices. They are highly paid. And these companies were offering the best of the best job opportunities for such skills. In 1 month alone, over 4,004 reported jobs were lost. Now, it's important to understand between reported and unreported jobs. These 4,400 people were full-time employees. That means they are on rolls of the company. What is not seen in the news is what happens to the contract workers. What are contract workers? These are temporary workers. You sign a contract for 6 months. You sign a contract for 1 year. You work in this company. No newspaper or media company will talk about the loss of contractual work. But I can say with certainty, being in the city of Bangalore or even in your cities also, lakhs of jobs were lost from the contractual field because nowhere it gets reported. And if you look at the world's largest and most lucrative job market, the United States, United States is currently facing the worst recession in its whole recorded history. From the time jobs became relevant, United States is now facing a very bad situation. I will not spend more time in this, but I hope all of you understand the importance of this to you, especially for your future, for you as the potential job seeker. It is not an easy situation. How are companies adapting is the next question. Very interestingly, the one thing that has become very common, almost everybody's, you know, uh, verbiage is work from home. Our honorable Prime Minister also, in many of his speeches, talked about as much as possible, do not go outside, stay at home, work from home. It is possible for a high-tech company like ours. It is possible for a high-tech company which has computers and your job requires you, like me, sitting in front of a computer. You can work from home. But for the greater majority of people who work in India, especially, that is not a possibility. One has to go to a workplace to get work done. Companies are giving flexibility to employees to come in shifts so that the space does not get crowded, so that social distancing can be maintained. They are giving masks, they are using sanitization. My own company, all our 500 plus employees have been working from home for the past 90 plus days. We sent our employees home even before India went down on lockdown. Globally, we have more than 2,000 employees. Not a single employee has come back to office in the last 90 days because we believe that the safety of our employees come first. But then again, we are also suffering because when it comes to our buyers, people who are buying our product, they are not working from offices. And unless we get in touch with them, we talk to them, our salesperson go and sells to them, we are not doing any business. Fortunately, most of our business comes from North America, which, as you are aware, is now opened up despite the increasing number of coronavirus cases, and we are able to sustain. But for many companies around the world, after the lockdown, they will never open their doors again because they are not able to sustain. Many of them have declared bankruptcy. Many of them are laying off workers, and many of them simply will not remain at the end of this situation. So going to the most important part, and this is the most interesting part for me when I talk to a group of students such as you, is what are the skills that I need to survive in this current situation? Mind you, I'm not an expert in the job market. I'm not an economist. I'm but a simple HR who hires people for a living, who gives them jobs, and when you resign and leave the company, gives you an experience letter. But in this journey, over 9 years, I've hired from the best of the best colleges. I have hired from tier 2 and tier 3 cities across the country. And I have seen the careers of so many people through the companies that I have worked in. And through some observation and some good common sense, here are some things that I have seen that has been most effective for people when the economy is going through a tough situation. Because mind you, the COVID situation might be new for all of us, but the economy moves in cycles. There is a peak and then there is a trough. So when things go bad, it is the same. Jobs are lost, jobs are cut down, people find it difficult to search for jobs. This cycle is very common. So step one of what we can do to survive in this new job market. For you, it might be new. For someone with a 10, 20, 30-year-old career, perhaps they would have seen many downturns. The first aspect that I request all of you to do is build your online presence. Why online? Why not offline? Immediately you might think, oh, I have Facebook, I have TikTok, I have Twitter. I am present online. What more do I have to build online? Well, social media is not online presence. Social media may give you some presence. unless you are a very famous content creator, you are a great YouTuber, then that kind of online presence might give you some notoriety or might give you some money also. But if you are in the job market, then the kind of online presence that you need to build is these two important aspects. One, open a LinkedIn account. LinkedIn, for many of you who may not know it or may not use it, because obviously now you are early in your careers, you have nothing much to share. It's a professionals social media network. It is where people like me look for other professionals, look for people who are in my line of work, see what they're doing at work, and potentially look at what we can do to collaborate, to perhaps give opportunity, and sometimes even get opportunities. In fact, my current job at Infoblox was through a LinkedIn posting. Someone put it on LinkedIn and someone referred me. So if you are not present online, you lose the opportunity of applying for a job. Second, when you are online, just don't be a resume online. There are a lot of thought leaders on this platform. Follow them. You will find Bill and Melinda Gates themselves talking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They are no more actively involved in Microsoft, but they are doing a lot of social work. You will find industry leaders. You will find political leaders, all of them sharing content that is relevant to the job market, that is relevant to you. So build your presence in LinkedIn, become available, so that tomorrow, if there is a recruiter looking for talent, one, you get to know that someone is looking for talent, there is an opportunity there, and two, you can apply for a job. So if I have to take a quick poll in the chat box or in the Q&A box, can someone is amongst the students, how many of you have a LinkedIn profile? Can you just share that? Is this available? Please take a moment, and if you can, share yes, I have a profile. No, I do not have it. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3. All right, 4, 5, 6. Good. 7. Great. No. Okay. 3, 4. Okay. All right. Okay. Many of you don't. So I'm glad that at least some of you have. I see many of you are honestly sharing that you do not have it. Do not worry. It's not too late. Open it today. Do not wait for it. Like I said, I'm going to share my experience. I'm going to share what is I've seen work for people around me. And if it is useful for you, come tomorrow and share it back with me so that I can share with some more students like you. So today itself, if you do not have a LinkedIn, and by the way, I'm not paid by LinkedIn to tell this, so don't think of this as some ad break. I am telling this because this is a part where I have actually seen jobs being shared, jobs being applied on, and new careers being created. So I see about 10 or 12 of you have LinkedIn profiles. Many of you said you do not have LinkedIn profiles. For those of you who do not have it, take the opportunity today and create your profile. The second most important thing with relevance to your online presence is having an updated resume. Now, again, you are fresher. What will you write in your resume? Your name, your marks, some projects that you might have done, some internships you may have done. Perhaps you can even talk about college fests that you have been part about. You can talk about any kind of social work that you have been doing through your school and college days, any achievements that you have got. All this can be part of your resume. Quick 2 tips that I can give for freshers is, do not keep your resume more than 1 page. I, as an experienced professional for almost a decade, my CV is not more than 2 pages. And that is where my insistence comes on having an updated resume. Highlight your most recent achievements. The rest can be bullet points, because what the recruiter is looking for is, does this person have that relevant skills that I'm looking for today, not something that you may have done 5 or 10 years ago. So today, what you have done, update it and keep updating it. The most important thing of being in the job market today is constantly updating your resume. Once you get your first job, don't stop there. Update your resume every day. Let me give you an example. I'm sure all of you may have heard of this company, Larsen and Toubro. It's a very large engineering services company. In fact, Larsen and Toubro is credited for building India's army, India's space, India's roads. Many of our large airports are all built by L&T. I got this privilege of working with them for about 11 months. Because again, you go to my LinkedIn profile, everything is transparently there. I can't say I worked there for 10 years because I just worked for 11 months. Now, while I was working there, I mentioned earlier in this talk, someone from LinkedIn reached out to me and said, there is this new company that's going to open its doors in Bangalore, and they are looking for an HR to set up the HR processes from scratch, from the beginning. Right now, they are about 10 people. In another 5 years, they may double or triple their headcount. I said, fine. I took that interview and I found it exciting. And today, 3 years later, I am working for Infoblocks. And today, the headcount is over 300 people. So, sorry. Right, sorry, there was some disturbance. So that's where I'm saying these two things are important. Moving on. This is another important aspect, and I'm sure you would have got a lot of feedback. You would have got feedback about your studies. You would have got feedback about your marks, feedback about how you're doing in college. But let me talk to you a little bit more about the feedback I'm talking about. Imagine the situation. You join your first work. You finish 1 week at your work. You are finished your induction. You have learned what are the tools that you're going to use in this work. People have come and given you trainings, and you are now started doing your work. And this is a common situation I've faced in almost every other company. One fine day, your manager comes to your desk and says, Mohit, whatever work you have done is terrible. You can take it in any local language that you can think of. Sometimes this conversation is not a pleasant one. I have seen people resign just because a manager came and said, your work is not good. In today's job market, one very concerning thing that I have seen amongst job seekers and also people with jobs is the inability to receive feedback. And when I say feedback, I'm not just telling about negative feedback, like the example I gave where a boss is coming and saying, you have done poor work. No, I'm saying any kind of feedback. See, the important thing is when you transition from a college environment to a job environment, remember what changes. In a college, you are paying for a service, and that is your education. There is a set of rules, guidelines. You may hate it, but it brings a level of structure and predictability to your life. But when you are at the workplace, someone is paying you to get job done. The tables are turned. And you're not in a teacher's position. You do not have set rules and regulations. Yes, there are rules and regulations for the company, but when the work is involved, do what you need to do. The work needs to get done. And if the job that is assigned to you is not done within the time and the quality that is expected, people will give you feedback. And I have seen increasingly new graduates having the inability to take feedback. They feel hurt, they feel angry, they feel, why am I here? And like I said, people resign from their jobs. So what is important is, remember, when someone comes and tells you you are not doing something the way it should be done, they may tell it to you in many ways. But what is important is they have taken the courage to come and tell you something is going wrong before the HR of the company sits in front of you and says, you have been doing this wrong for a long time. Now let's do a performance improvement plan for you. That's the end of the road, typically in many jobs. So if you are a fresh graduate entering the market tomorrow, start developing the skill of receiving feedback. And to do that, what is more important is you start giving constructive feedback. And you can do this right today because you are surrounded by your friends. You know them, you have worked with them, you know they are good and bad. Start experimenting, start giving them feedback. What do you think about them? What do you think about some of their actions? Observe their reactions, because this is the same feedback loop that you're going to face in the workplace. So remember, if you are entering the workplace, make it a point to give as well as receive constructive feedback. Let me give you another example to wrap up this topic of feedback. A long time ago, probably in my second job in metric stream, it was a similar situation like in the example I gave. First week into the job, I was very excited. I had got like a 30 or 40% raise over my previous company's salary. And it was a beautiful office, lots of people, lots of energy, young crowd. And I was young myself, not that I'm not older now, but you know, you had people at your own age all around you. And a week into my job, my manager comes to me and says, Mohit, I need to talk to you. And she says, you have not been consistently coming to work. You know, by then Netflix was not such a big thing, but you still had movies, you still had a lot of distractions. And early in my career, I made the mistake of taking that new opportunity lightly. And within the first week, it was noticed. And my manager came to me and said, you have not been consistent. What is it that has been stopping you from being consistent to work? Now that was a wake-up call for me, because for any professional, even for you, even for a very seasoned professional, you can make this mistake of slacking off. So in such a situation, it is important that you take that feedback positively. Thinking back, if I would have taken that feedback negatively, oh, why is this manager coming to me on my first week and giving me such strong feedback? Perhaps I would have also resigned and left the company. God knows how many companies I would have changed in that short time frame. But I took that feedback positively. I realized I'm making a mistake and I corrected it. And within the next 12 months, I got my first promotion. Bottom line, you want to succeed in this new uncertain environment, start loving your feedback. The next most important thing, perhaps everybody will tell around you, is upskilling. And this is where I pause. All of you are experts in your line of work. I understand there's a group of students here who are in different specializations. Apart from your specialization, have you taken up any other technical or non-technical course? If yes, please put it in the chat box and say which course you have taken. Mind you, this should be a course that is not related to your line of study or work, something different. For example, I'm an HR, I take up a course in maybe video editing, or take up a course in Photoshop, or take up a course in coding, something that is different from my core skill. So if the students here are have taken any skills other than your core study area, please put it in the chat box. And again, this is not a exam, so by responding or not responding, you're not going to get or lose marks. I'm just taking a pulse check here. All right, no. Okay, Priyanka says she has taken a course on digital marketing. Excellent. Christina in SEO. Fantastic. That's brilliant. Search engine optimization, a good thing to have. Tanshri has taken a course on animation. Wow. A diploma in financial accounting and a computer course. Digital marketing course. Nice. Excellent. At least for the few of you who have taken these courses, I applaud you. Congratulations. You have taken a step in the right direction. For the rest of you who are there, okay, there is someone on FB and Instagram advertising. Very nice. This is again a good one. I know of a colleague who started a startup with FB and Instagram advertising. Now she's living off just that. Blogging, excellent. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing this feedback. Just think of it, people, anyone on the call, including the faculty, just think about it. You have about 40, 50 participants here. Of these 50 participants, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, less than 10% who have upskilled themselves, who have done something different from their line of work. Now, this is no different in the job market, because when I start opening Naukri.com, if tomorrow I have to look at people who have to hire to the company, I'm not simply looking at what you have done in college. I'm looking at what else have you done in college. Is it just that you have got that set of marks, or have you got skills, especially relevant skills that I need that can make you quickly ready in this new scenario? And why is this important? In the COVID-19 or post-COVID-19 world, budgets of companies are going to go down. There's going to be less and less funding for training. If you look at the large employers in India, TCS, Infosys, even Hindustan Unilever, the cornerstone of these companies is a fantastic training program that they offer to all their new joiners. The training program ranges from anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 months. That means after you join the company, for the first 6 months, you're just going through training. You're going through training for email. You're going through training for what your core work is. If your work requires some kind of marketing skill, perhaps the things that your colleagues have shared for, they are going through intensive training. And at the end of the training, there will also be an assessment. And mind you, if you do not pass that assessment, that 6 months is the only experience you're going to get in that company. You're out. So companies, especially large employers in India, long back have realized that the skill that is coming out of college is not enough for you to be successful in your job. So they have invested a lot in training. But in a post-COVID-19 world where customers are not buying products, customers are not coming to you, you are not able to produce, you are not able to get your employees to work. In the name of cost cutting, trainings are going to go out of the door. So it is important that you, as fresh graduates, invest in yourself today. Please start investing in yourself. This education that you are receiving today is not the end. It is but a beginning for a lifelong of learning. Because today what you have learned is your entry into the job market. But tomorrow what you are learning is your success in that job market. Because if you stop learning, you stop growing, you stop learning, your growth opportunities are limited. So where can you upskill yourself? What can you do to upskill yourself? Here are some areas that I can think about. Immediately look at internships. Now, again, you may ask me the question, oh, there's a lockdown situation. I can't go and sit in an office. Where do I do my internships? Many of the internships today are digital. Look, once you open your LinkedIn accounts and start connecting with students from other colleges across the world, you will find so many people doing digital internships. They do not step into the office area, yet they do fantastic work for the company sitting at home. If you get that opportunity to do an internship, and mind you, a real internship, not the one which gives you a certificate at the end of that internship, real work, sitting with the people at the office and working, please take that opportunity. Because internships not only give you valuable skills, but more importantly, now they know who you are as a person. Because tomorrow, if a job opportunity opens up, rather than looking in the job market for 10 or 100 profiles, I would pick the intern who worked with me and said, please come and join my company because you have done fantastic work. Even if you have not done great work, I know what your limitations are. You have worked for 6 months, you know my company. So definitely internships are a very easy way in which you can upskill yourself. Another area of importance that I can talk about is project-based work. What are project-based works? In short, they also call it as gig economy. When we say gig economy, it's like I have a project, say I'm a school, I have to now do digital learning, I have to do online learning. I do not know how to set up this platform Zoom. I have invested lakhs of money, I have got the license, but for any college that has bought Zoom, SAP or any license, telecommunication licenses, the training is a separate package. Sometimes the training is costlier than the product. So there are so many companies offering these as projects. Okay, I will set up this software for you. I will set up this hardware for you. And people who are multi-skilled, like people in this call, if you are multi-skilled, you can do project-based work even while you're in college. Nobody will stop you. Of course, please balance your work. Do not go missing from your college. Then someone will come searching for me. But the important thing is do project-based works so that you can showcase real life skill while you're going for that interview. And while you enter your first work, chances are the job market may not have completely recovered. There, the chances are you may get into some kind of a contractual work. What do I mean by contractual work? Your first job may be a 6-month contract or a 1-year contract. Do not think twice. Take that job offer because a job in hand is better than none. So even if your first job says a 3-month contract, a 6-month contract, a 1-year contract, please take it. Whatever skill, connections, and learning that you develop in that 6 month, sitting at home without a job, sitting in frustration will not give you that learning. So take these opportunities, upskill yourselves. I did not even cover online courses because by now I'm sure all of you will be going to the Coursera's and the Udemy's of the world. But these are practical skill building exercises. So if you are a student today looking to enter the job market tomorrow, actively explore these opportunities. And quite honestly, this is the last bit of my little intro to you. Start building resilience. What is resilience? If you look at it from a dictionary perspective, it's your ability to recover from a negative circumstance, a negative outcome or misfortune quickly. Now, where is it important? As an HR, I'm pulled into various real life situations. Some might even find these stories as good gossip, but problem is each of these stories has a real person behind it. I will share you some instances just to show you why resilience is important in this world today. Recently, you may have heard about a movie star committing suicide. There was this whole debate online about depression and, the fickle fame of the online presence. But what's important to understand is a life is lost. And a life is no different. A life of a movie star, a life of a politician, a life of a student. It's all the same. A life is a life. Especially when you look at today's work environments, you are under immense stress. What kind of stress? Look at the world outside. People are dying of the coronavirus. You can't even see what is coming, and there's no symptoms. You don't even know till it is too late. And once you get the virus, you have now become a statistic. Tomorrow you'll be in the paper. Oh, patient number 600, patient number 661. But the stress that goes in your mind, only you can face it. The same thing happens in the job also. Every day you walk into your workplace, you are faced with a lot of challenges. Now, these challenges, you have to face it yourself. You can come and share it with a colleague, but it's just gossip. It will not help you in any way. Most of them will again share some more negativity. Then by the time, like your esteemed principal shared, positivity is always better than negativity. But in the workplace, typically you will see one person starts talking something negative, 10 more people will start coming and join them. Oh, okay, something negative is being spoken. And this is human psychology, mind you. This is not just, I'm saying, in a workplace. There was a study conducted that said, people who are satisfied with the product, say I have a mobile phone, if I'm happy with it, maybe I will go and tell one person. But for whatever reason, if I'm unhappy with that mobile phone, the study says, I will go to at least 8 people and tell them this is a bad mobile phone, do not buy it. It's human psychology. We tend to highlight negatives more than positives. Yes, we love positivity, but negativity has an inherent charm to human beings. So how do we build this resilience? The most important thing is accepting and understanding that the important aspect of anyone around you is you yourself. So build yourself. And when I say build yourself, I'm not saying build your, go to the gym or go to the, look at your daily situations. When you walk into the workplace, someone says something, and if you feel bad about it, that is a stressor. That is a trigger. There is a colleague who is constantly backbiting, who is constantly, in our Desi terminology, creating politics. That is a stressor for you. You have a colleague who is doing better than you, and you feel bad about it. All of these are symptoms that you have not built yourself enough. So start building yourself, start investing in yourself. Read, understand. People have a lot of knowledge out there. I'm not an expert, but still I can pick a book which has a lot of knowledge of people who have gone through worse situations, and start building and start investing in yourself. The more you do it, the more stronger you will be from recovering from any bad or negative situations. The second very interesting aspect is financial planning. Now, you might think, how is financial planning related to resilience? Like 2 minutes back, Mohit was talking about building your mind, building your body, but all of a sudden, where did money come from? Look at any person today. Look at, it might be you, it might be your faculty, it might be me. One of our biggest stressors in our world today is the lack of money. Some may think it's not enough. Some may, for real reasons, you may have a home loan, you may have a, financial commitment. The minute people start having less of that money, have poorly planned their finances, that is where resilience takes a beating. Because your mind is constantly now thinking, is constantly worried about what you need to do to build that financial bucket. So start planning early. If you are a fresh graduate, start investing your money early. Don't invest it in the stock market. take it from me, bad idea. Invest it in varied aspects. I'm sure talk to your faculty. They are experts. They have been in the industry. They have worked. They have done PhDs. I'm sure they will give you a lot of good sound knowledge. Invest your money. Don't waste it. You can always buy a new phone, a new laptop, a new bike tomorrow. But today, if there's no money in your bank, someone might throw you out of your house. Someone might come and threaten you. Someone might cause you a lot of stress. So plan early. This is important, especially if you're a fresh graduate coming out of the company. Last but most importantly, look at mental health and wellness. When I sit at my desk in any of my offices, be it my first job or this is my third or fourth job now, I have faced a suicide scenario, a live suicide scenario. I don't like facing them. It's the worst part of my job. But I can't, you know, it's like this. If a robbery happens, what will you do? Call the police, right? In a company, anything happens, HR ko bulao. Quite literally. I've been in situations where a person sitting in another country is not responding, is not opening the door, and people are scared what that person is doing on the other side of the door. I've been in situations where I have seen live people breaking down at the workplace, people losing control of their mental faculties at the workplace. In India, the most, I would say, sad thing is you get a cough or a cold, you'll run and take a tablet. But if you have something bothering you inside your head, people will say, grow up, it's just a part of living. Why are you crying over it? So it's a common thing. Perhaps they'll talk less of it, not more. But increasingly in today's world, especially in this post-corona world, there is enough stress around you. You do not want stress inside of you. Talk to a counselor, talk to a psychiatrist, whoever is there around you, who is the right person to talk. You might find it easier to go to your company HR, go to your elders, go to your parents, but most of them are not equipped to handle your real challenges. So becoming resilient is about investing in yourself, investing in your financial priorities, and most importantly, taking care of your mental health. With this, I wrap up my quick intro to what I believe as an HR professional from my little experience will help you in this post-pandemic world, land you a job, keep that job, and even thrive in that job. I hope you found it interesting. I open up this session for questions. If you have anything, please go ahead, put it in the chat box, unmute your mics, whatever is easy. I'll try my best to answer it.
Good afternoon, sir. In today's newspaper Times, there is a small, write-up. Kevin Care's CEO, C.K. Ranganathan, he has decided to, close down his headquarters and his 4 branches and give it on rent because he says that, most of them can work at home.
Right.
And not only that, there will be no loss of job, plus also there will be a saving of about 15,000 per month.
Yeah.
So is this practical for all the companies? And if it is practical, then what about creation of new jobs?
So that's an interesting question you put there, sir. And here is my take on it. It depends on the size of the company, and it depends on how you have invested in that company. So in this example, you're saying if they are shutting off these places, that is perhaps was on rent, maybe they will save on the rental, they will save on the real estate space, they will save on, the immediate hiring requirement. But if you look at many of the large and mid-sized companies, they would have invested in crores and they would have built very large real estate areas. So by shutting it down and keeping it shut down, they incur more losses because maintaining that asset, keeping that in a working condition. A good example is airlines. All the airplanes that are grounded have a running cost just to keep them on working condition, keep them working so that tomorrow when the flight crew come back and they have to fly that airline, it has to be in peak working condition, not a single thing out of, because I started my career in Deccan Aviation, which was India's first low cost airline. Even a grounded plane needs that kind of maintenance. You look at a large IT firm or a large manufacturing unit, we cannot manufacture from home. So it depends on the nature of business. It depends on what kind of investments they have put in and what state they are in today. If they are into the service industry, if their jobs are predominantly online, it is dependent on people, surely that seems to be a practical idea for the near term. But for the longer term, especially for the bigger side of the economy, the economic drivers, be it industry, be it travel and tourism, be it any of the aspects that require people meeting other people, going to a physical location, that is an impractical choice. So again, depending on where you are, which company you're looking at, this answer would differ.
So even in TCS, the same strategy is being worked out. Where
Right.
they say that you can work from home.
Yeah, but right. So I have some insight from, because L&T, TCS, they're all
Yes.
competitors working in the same space.
Right. So will
These,
it really impact the job market or in the long run? That is what I'm talking about, the long run.
yes, yes. One good thing is they're finally trusting the employees to work from home. Because if you looked at 1 month before or 2 months before, these were the same companies that were writing articles that working from home is a waste of time. Working from home is, ineffective. They would have even sponsored some studies to show that, working from home is a loss of productivity. The good news is finally the Indian industry is accepting work from home as real work. Earlier they used to make a joke like, work from home, shayad ghar ka kuch kaam hai, he has to sit at home and do some work. So that was a running joke in these circles. The other thing is work from home used to be like a proxy for leave. So instead of taking leave, you just say, aaj to, I'm working from home. That, finally that mindset is gone. But again, there are conflicting messages, because if you just Google TCS and work from home, you will find conflicting articles. For example, more recently, I believe the current CEO said, this is a more transitionary thing and we will soon have people coming back to offices, for the only reason that these companies also leverage the real estate perks that are given by the state governments. For example, in Bangalore, if you set up a new office space in one of those special economic zones, you get a fantastic tax break. So for setting up an office which has 10 buildings, the tax break actually ties into the company's financial performance. So, it all works together. Again, my knowledge would be limited in terms of the industries I'm working in, but especially for industries which can rely on people working remotely, this is a practical choice. There are more challenges also because, in an Indian work home environment, we never build our houses thinking that this is going to be an office tomorrow.
Right.
We think that, okay, it's a bedroom, it's a hall, it's a kitchen. We don't think that, this room is going to be my work office. So that is another practical challenge. And I hope, we kind of adapt over time, but for the immediate future, that will be an ongoing challenge. That's the least I can say.
Thank you very much for your information.
Yeah. So I also see, Doctor, there's some questions. Diksha
Yes,
says,
yes.
yeah,
Yes, I can please take that.
right. So she says, is competition going to get hard? What is an HR's look, especially when in an interview? It's a good question. Is competition going to get hard? Because not only you'll be competing with all the 23 million students who are going to come out of all these colleges, you're also competing with experienced people who do not have jobs today, are laid off. So definitely competition will be on a higher side. But one thing that you should remember is you're at the entry level of the job market. when you are entering the job market, you are getting a job at the lowest salary band. I'm not saying you're getting nothing. You are getting a job at the lowest salary band. A good example I can share is when I joined my first job in 2010, my first salary was 6,000 rupees per month. I know HR always says, don't share your salary. Salary is, sharing salaries. But I share this very proudly for one reason. From there, when I joined, if I would have thought that I'm going to get poor salary, I will not take up this job, I would have never started a career. In fact, the salary was so low, it was below the minimum salary range in Karnataka. They put me on ESI. ESI, for those who are working in HR field, is a employer state insurance. So it was that bad. But most important, like I said, is doesn't matter what you get paid or what you do in that job. It's about the experience that you gain every day. So it doesn't matter if it gets difficult today. Like I said, upskill yourself, start getting resilient, build your resilience. Resilience, some people say that, okay, this person just has a thick skin. No, you can build resilience. Start investing in yourself, build your structures, you build your skills, so that tomorrow this market will get better. It's not forever down, because this is not the first time the world has had a pandemic. Pandemics have been going on for a long time. Maybe this time it is just aggravated, and this generation is seeing such a pandemic for the first time. But things are hard today, but another 6 months, 1 year, it's going to be the same competitive job market where everybody is hiring. So prepare yourself for that time. Don't worry about today. The 2-3 points that I've shared might come in your advantage. I hope that answers your question. What does an HR skill look? Okay, what does an HR look into an interview? Honestly, that depends on the HR. Some HR, I'm sorry to say, have no clue why they're sitting there and doing an interview. They will ask you some fun questions like, oh, where are you coming from? Are you married? Are you not married? All that nonsensical questions. But if you look at someone with experience, someone working in an established firm, especially if you're working for an American firm like me, we are not even allowed to ask those questions, because if you look at the American laws, it is discriminatory to ask those questions. So if I were to answer it from my perspective, what do I look at in a person when I take an interview is, will this person fit my company's culture? Now, again, on culture, I can probably take another 1 hour session, but this is a simple example I can give. If my workplace is a tough environment where everybody is competing with each other, where everybody is fighting to get that next hike, where everybody is, constantly upskilling themselves, there's a fair amount of politics at work. I will look into that candidate and see, is this person already ready to take up that kind of a competitive scenario? Is this person going to fit in that? If this person appears to be too soft, too caring, too calm, perhaps there are other workplaces that are more suitable. Because if you take that person and put them in a wrong work culture, then it's just going to end in disaster. So I believe that as an HR, the most important thing is look at that person and find cues on how or what is important that can fit them into the company culture. The rest, quite honestly, obviously is your skill, is, if again, when you say HR, there are different HR, there are recruiters, there are talent acquisition partners. Finally, I come in as HR business partner. I'm at the higher end of the spectrum. So the initial HR rounds will look at suitability. Do you have the basic skills? Do you have the basic experience? Then at the advanced levels, someone like me would look at cultural fitment. I hope that answers your question. The next question is, as a BAF student, what are the job opportunities for me? Pardon my ignorance, but can you tell me the top 2 or 3 key courses that are part of BAF?
So BAF stands for BCom Accounting and Finance.
All right, understood. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So, all right, BCom Accounting and Finance. Well, quite honestly, you have a very wide spectrum of job opportunities out there. The one end of the spectrum would be what we call as knowledge work, the one that kind of I'm doing in where you get into a specialization. Maybe you branch into HR, into marketing, or you're good at some of your financial subjects, probably become a CA, or there is that option there where you specialize yourself in one line of work and go into that specialized work. The other opportunity is you just enter the job market and pick the first job available. Especially if you're joining a situation where you're joining a startup. See, startups don't hire for necessarily for your skills. They're looking for that right attitude because startups are very uncertain. Things can become different in no time. A good example I can give from my experiences, I'm sure all of you would have heard of this company called OnePlus. It's a mobile phone company, China based. Now they have moved their operations mostly to the States. When they opened their first phone, they started with like a campaign online. And I remember them coming down to Bangalore and scouting for talent to open their first office in Bangalore for their R&D center. Now, back then, people just laughed them off. They said, one plus, what is this? 1 + 1, 2, what is this? So that was like a fun thing back then. But today, as you know it, it is the 4th or 5th most best-selling device in its category, sometimes even competing with the giants like Samsung and Apple. So bottom line is, when I look at the first people who joined OnePlus when it opened in Bangalore, they were fresh graduates out of the colleges in the local colleges. Today, they are product managers, they are division managers, they are marketing leaders, they are even heading HRs of that. All of them were freshers when they joined this company. Today, they have grown more than perhaps any of their peers would have grown from getting into a fancy MBA or getting into that course. So yes, depending on where you want to join, at what stage of the company you want to join, for a BAF student, there is a whole lifespan of opportunities. The regular opportunities are always there. You look at a Deloitte, you look at the big 5 consulting firms. They hire graduates only. They do not care about post-graduations. If you're a postgraduate, getting a job is very difficult. So the big 4 or 5, consulting firms in India, they're always hiring and they hire in lakhs. So that is another great opportunity you can look at. Banks are unfortunately going through a tough situation. There is depressed demand. There is, people saving, lesser, and loans are not going as it should go. So earlier, at least in 2010, when I was going through this financial crisis, banks were a very lucrative opportunity, but unfortunately not the best today. However, the rest, it's an open, I would say, for spectrum over there. Okay, the next question says, does HR have a great future ahead? I'm optimistic. Because if it does not, then I don't have a job. So I'm optimistic that the HR has a great future. Because one thing you need to remember is, unlike the HR of the old, HR used to come, take attendance, some, issue happens, comes and, takes a class and corrects situation, sends a notice. Our jobs are no more that. We are more customer service representatives than HR today. We are more psychologists than HR today. We have to do a lot of roles. Like I said, people who are going through a tough time in their personal life, they will come and feel comfortable to talk to an HR. And when I started my role, 2010, literally the HR ads used to come, HR role open, only girls should apply. Like literally they used to say girls should apply or women should apply, women candidate preferred, because there was this whole stereotype that HR roles can only be done by women. Strangely, if you look at the HR, the kind of spread we have, there are a lot of women, great women candidates who are working in HR. Leena Nair is another one great example. From HUL, Cisco, there are so many examples where there are fantastic HR leaders, but there are equal number of men HR leaders also, and also great HR personnel. So I'm optimistic about the opportunities of HR, but again, in a depressed job market, at least for the short term, there will be shocks. All right. There's a last question there. Going for higher studies, post-graduation or internship, what will you suggest? That's a tough question. I would say the most practical answer is, how much are your parents ready to fund you? Because if it means taking a, a loan, please don't do that. I would suggest go and start working, earn your post graduation. Because remember, doing a post graduation immediately versus doing a post graduation after you get real industry experience, then you will appreciate that education. Until then, it is just about spending time. I myself did that. I'm not lecturing to you. Please trust that. I myself did that. So when I'm very conscious when I tell this to students that, don't do this, I'm telling it out of experience. So if your parents or family are funding your education, go ahead and do a post graduation. It will give you a cushion from this downturn. So by the time you finish that next 2-3 years, hopefully the market would have stabilized. And when you come out, you will get better job opportunities. But if your parents are not funding your education, you're doing it out of your own pocket, just simply join any job that is out there available. Again, when I say any job, relevant jobs. Aim for it. I'm sure you will land there. But get into the job market, work for a year or at least 2 years, and then join a post-graduation, which gives emphasis on working professionals, which hires or takes students who had job experience, because that learning experience will be far different from your regular, learning aspect. So I hope that helps answer your question. Again, that's not, I would say, a best thing, but let me also thank you for your questions. There's a few more in the question box, so let me check. Namrata says, what is the job opportunity in the banking sector? Okay, that's a good question. Again, I would say it depends on which bank you are targeting. Recently, you would have heard HSBC is cutting down more than 35,000 jobs globally. There's an HSBC bank here next to I live next to IIM Bangalore, and there's a very large HSBC unit. The one building alone has close to 2,500 employees. I know for fact it is shutting down. So 2,500 jobs are lost. So it depends on which bank you're joining. If you would have joined the bank recently, again, another bank called Bandhan Bank, recently it was in the news. It is a small bank, started very humbly. But if you see that growth and the current status at which they are in, stable, it's a good job opportunity. So it depends on which bank you're joining. If you're joining a nationalized bank, my parents were bankers, my whole family, at least that generation, were bankers, perhaps the last great generation of bankers. But unfortunately, it's not a very great time to join the nationalized banking sector because it is not making money. Many of them are getting merged, and there is a lot of uncertainty for the existing jobs in itself. And remember, a banking job is always transferable. So you can move across the country, sometimes even outside the country. So you have appetite for that kind of learning, that kind of knowledge, please go ahead. And again, within banking, it's no more the traditional banking roles. Emphasis is given to marketing roles. Emphasis is about opening new accounts, getting new loans. So you may become a marketing person. You are in a bank, but you may get a marketing background. You're in a bank, you may get an HR background. So it depends on what your interest lies in. Are you getting that opportunity? And before you take that opportunity, please research, is this bank in a healthy situation today? Is this bank going to survive the next 2 years? If you're going to join Yes Bank today, I'm sorry, I'm not, I have a few money left there. I'm going to take money out because it's very difficult if you look at the current situation. So I hope that helps answer your question. All right, there's another question that says from Akash, I'm doing my Masters of Management Studies, MBA from Specialized in Finance, completing this year. What are the additional courses I would do to help me land a good job? Great question, Akash. And I hope and I wish you all the best in your job search ahead. Again, I'm a practical person. I will share from my experience. It may not be the best answer for you, but here is what I think. Look at the practical aspects of a job that is required for a finance person. What are those things? Start with Excel. Trust me, when I joined the workplace, the biggest skill that was required was Excel. So if today you do not have basic Excel skills. And when I say basic, it's not just Excel opening it and closing it. You need to know VLOOKUP. You need to know pivots. You need to know, of course, you don't need to know too many formulas, because the newer versions of Excel are very intuitive. Start building your skill there. Next, look at some tools that are used generally in this space. Earlier, students used to do a lot of Tally courses, homegrown, Indian-grown company, fantastic opportunity to upskill yourself. But there are many other tools that you can utilize, that you can build your skill in. Because like I said, remember I said earlier, companies are not going to invest in your training in this current environment. So if you're going to join the workplace in the next 2 years, when you sit in that interview, research which tool are they using, and if that training is available outside, go and do the training. Now, once again, I should caution you, in this difficult environment, there are people like me, like your faculty, who are trying to help you by doing these courses. But there are more people who will be there trying to cheat you of your hard-earned, your money and your parents' money. So before you take up any course, please do your homework. Please ensure that is genuine. And most importantly, the certificate does not matter. What matters is what you learn. So please do your research. And these are some aspects I would believe that would help you land a good job. I'm sorry if I cannot give you a specific course, because again, I'm not a financial expert, but I'm sure your faculty are well equipped to answer that. So all the best again. All right, there's another question from Ashwin. Okay, and wants to know if she is in postgraduate, interested in marketing, which institute is better in Mumbai? Uh, okay, Ashwin, I again, for everyone here, I think the common denominator between all of us is many of us are born in Mumbai, including me. I was born in Mumbai. So although the rest of my life I've been across the country, I proudly born in Mumbai. But I have been away from the city for a very long time. So I'm not in the best situation to suggest which institute would be good. This data is readily available on the internet. You can look at, okay, NMIS. Okay, that's yeah, that's okay. I know of this. NMIS is a decent college. It's a good one. What you need to check is two things. Go to the college. Do not go and talk to the placement coordinator. Do not go and talk to the teacher. Just go and talk to a student who is currently doing that course. And online or offline, try to connect with a graduate who has passed out of this course, because they are the source of truth. They will tell you the truth about the college and about the course. This is a good brand. I can vouch for the brand in itself. But again, depending on the area, the kind of placement support that they provide, the kind of practical exposure that they provide varies from institute to institute. So please do your research, check with an existing student, check with an passed out student. And again, do not limit yourself there, because most important end of the day is about your daughters or your, your own students' capability and interest. Just to share a small, digression from there. When I wrote my MAT exam, I got about 96 percentile. I could have picked the best MBA colleges across the city. Somehow in my head back then, it was, I don't want to spend lakhs of rupees. I will rather take up a central university course, which just cost me 30,000-40,000 rupees per year to get an MBA. So that was my choice. So again, it depends on what institute you choose, what kind of support they give. And I wish you, sir, a best of luck. So, all right, there's another question. Siddhi says, is there a job in the IT sector for commerce? And I think these are the last few questions I can quickly take. Absolutely, yes. A lot of jobs, except for the coding part, even the coding, so to say. It is another skill. You can develop it yourself. You can start in customer support. You can start in general operations. You can start in project management. You can start in HR. You can start in marketing. You can go to PR. There are whole new worlds out there, and it just requires you to upskill yourself in certain skills that interest you. So look at what interests you, look what you aspire to do, and start building your skills so that you can work on that. Definitely you can look at job opportunities there. MBA banking sector, I think I have answered a similar question. I hope the answer is similar and helpful for you. All right, Vinita asks, what is the future of HR opportunities in manufacturing and service sectors considering job security? Wow, that's an important and I would say interesting question. Job security today, one thing that we all have to agree, and I would say that is a part of building resilience in yourself, is just assume that you will lose your job tomorrow. Because in today's world, you will see the cycles of downturns becoming faster. You will see that the economic you have your pandemic on one side, you have uncertainty in the border, you have the economy in itself which is not doing that well. So you have a combination of factors. So considering all this, any job, anything that is outside your control is uh, I was reading some articles that even the Tatas are going to announce some job cuts and are going to cut their executive salaries by 25%. So even for a job family which is so respected, which is so well known, literally we give examples of them when we teach management to our students in India. If they are also not in a financial condition that in 3 months they are not unable to pay salaries, then the rest are definitely not in good shape. So to your specific question, there will always be opportunities, especially in these sectors. And again, the only difference is if you are setting into a manufacturing line of work, you have to know hardcore labor laws. You need to be in the toe-to-toe, standing to a union representative, talking to a labor inspector. On the service side of things, you need to diversify yourself into a whole lot of other things. So definitely there will be opportunities. This lockdown, this current situation is not forever, I'm hoping, but uncertainty is to stay. So the best thing that we can do is become more resilient ourselves, plan for backups, because that's, I would say, a smart thing to do. All right, thank you very much. I think I'm on time. I hope I have answered most of your questions. I hope many of you found this, it's interesting. And of course, you have your feedback. I request, your faculty is already requesting for feedback. Please take a few minutes, share your feedback. And I wish you all the best and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, sir, for your
You're welcome.
enlightening session where all the participants, I hope, must have definitely benefited. I, Mrs. Swati Dr. Dongre, now take the opportunity to give vote of thanks to all our participants, our teachers, and technical staff for making this webinar a huge success. I once again extend a big thank you to our principal, Dr. Shrikant Sawant, CEO, Dr. Mala Kharkar, and the management for their constant support, guidance, and encouragement. A successful event has many hands working effortlessly for months. I thank all the members directly and indirectly involved in making this event successful. Thank you, everyone. Last but not the least, I request the participants to submit their feedback in the link provided in the chat box so that we are able to generate the participation certificates. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you and have a great day. So
Thank
I'll
you,
log
sir.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.